Welcome back. The U.S. is keeping its travel restrictions on South Africa, well, at least for now, citing Omicron concerns. The White House says it needs more information before lifting the ban. Let's get an update from our U.S. correspondent, Simon Marks. He joins us live from Washington, D.C. So, Simon, just on Sunday, President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor, Anthony Fauci, saying that the U.S. is reviewing its travel ban on South Africa daily and hopes to lift it, and I quote, within a reasonable amount of time. But still no decision. Why?
No decision yet, and they're coming under relentless pressure now at the White House. The Los Angeles Times had an opinion piece in its edition on Tuesday saying that this travel ban is discriminatory and needs to end immediately. But the official word yesterday from Jeff Zients, who is the coordinator of President Biden's COVID-19 response team, is that it is too early for the ban to be lifted. He said there are lots of unknowns about the transmissibility, the severity and the vaccine impact of Omicron. We think the temporary limitation on a limited number of countries until we have the answers we need is a reasonable measure for a reasonable period of time. He did say that they're reviewing these travel restrictions on a day-to-day basis, so theoretically an announcement about its alleviation could come at any time. But the White House finds itself in some difficulty here, Shahan, because throughout this they've said, well, the travel ban wasn't President Biden's idea. It was the view of his public health advisors that it should be imposed, and this White House always listens to the scientists and follows the science. Well, now Dr. Fauci, his chief medical advisor, is saying this ban should be lifted, and they haven't lifted it yet, so at some point they're going to have to explain why they're not currently listening to that particular scientist.
Yeah, because Fauci also admitted in that interview with CNN that the travel ban was passed, another quote, in the dark. So what's happening with other countries that are recording a significant number of cases when it comes to the Omicron variant? The UK has 437 cases and growing. Germany, Italy too. What about travel bans on those countries?
Yeah, absolutely nothing is happening. And that, of course, is why there is a very clear argument now being advanced that this was a discriminatory move that was taken by the Biden administration. Because, I mean, you would have banned travel from the Netherlands and from Belgium hours after you banned travel from South Africa if you were truly concerned about countries that pose a threat of exporting Omicron into the United States. The White House has said consistently that the whole idea of the ban on South Africa was to provide Americans with more time to get booster shots so that they could boost their immunity against the Omicron variant. But that logic, you would think, would also apply to flights that are still arriving every single day here and bringing travellers from Western Europe and from countries where Omicron is now, as it is in the United States, widespread.
Yeah, and then obviously one has to wonder whether it's working at all because you have 19 U.S. states already detecting the Omicron variant.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole point also is that the travel ban, even from South Africa, did not apply to American citizens and permanent legal residents, green card holders, who were in South Africa at the time. And in fact, the first Omicron case that was identified here in the United States out in the San Francisco Bay Area was an American citizen who had returned from South Africa and brought the Omicron variant back with him in his baggage. So, I mean, it's absolutely apparent that there is a contradiction here. I mean, yes, you can prevent South Africans from bringing it into the country, but you've already allowed American citizens returning from Southern Africa and now undoubtedly returning from countries in Europe along with Western Europeans to bring it into the United States as well.
So, Simon, lastly, how is that booster shot campaign going, given that they wanted Americans to get booster shots and that's why they banned South Africans? Have they managed to get lots of people?
Yeah, well, better than it was. Yeah, better than it was. There's no question about that. In the most recent statistics that we've seen, the Centers for Disease Control says that around 1.4 million Americans are now getting a booster shot every single day. We need to see this week's numbers to see whether that has continued apace. But that's a substantial increase on where things were. The concern here is going to be that with Dr. Fauci over the weekend saying that he believes that the Omicron variant may not be as serious as originally feared in terms of its capacity to create serious cases of COVID-19 that result in hospitalizations or deaths. Some Americans may say, oh, well, I won't bother to get the booster shot then, and we'll see those numbers drop. But certainly there has been an increase in interest in the booster, even at a time, remember, though, when 40% of Americans are still not fully vaccinated against COVID-19 by the old yardstick, the two-shot regimen. So this country still has a very long way to go.
So do we. All right, thanks for the update. Appreciate it. Our Washington correspondent, Simon Marks.